The 19-year-old midfielder every top club wants. Can Manchester United win this battle? Hey everyone, welcome back to United Daily Updates. I'm so glad you're here. If you're new to our channel, let me tell you something important. We've built the most trusted community for Manchester United fans who want real news, honest opinions, and daily updates about our club. We don't do clickbait here. We don't make things up. We bring you facts, analysis, and the truth about what's happening at Old Trafford. So if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button right now. Turn on notifications. Join thousands of other United fans who trust us for their daily dose of Manchester United news. Today I need to talk to you about something huge. Something that could change the direction of Manchester United for the next 10 years. We're talking about a 19-year-old midfielder from Holland who every single top club in Europe wants to sign. His name is Kees Smit, and I promise you, by the end of this video, you're going to understand why this could be the most important transfer battle of the summer. But here's the problem. We're not alone in wanting him. 6 other Premier League clubs are chasing him. Top European teams are watching. And the price tag is going to be absolutely massive. So the question isn't whether Kees Smit is talented. Everyone agrees he's special. The question is, can Manchester United actually win this race? Can we beat Arsenal, Manchester City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Tottenham, and Newcastle to sign this kid? And should we even try? Stay with me because we're going deep on this one. I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about Kees Smit, why scouts are calling him the next Frenkie de Jong, what he would bring to Manchester United, and whether we have any realistic chance of signing him. A name you need to remember right now. Let's start from the beginning. Who is Kees Smit? If you're hearing this name for the first time, don't worry. Most casual football fans haven't heard of him yet. But trust me when I say this, in 6 months everyone will know who he is. Everyone will be talking about him. And whichever club signs him will be celebrating. Kees Smit is 19 years old. He plays in central midfield for AZ Alkmaar in the Dutch League. Now I know what some of you are thinking. The Dutch League isn't the Premier League. It's not as strong. It's not as competitive. And you'd be right about that. But here's what you need to understand. The Dutch League has a long history of producing incredible talent. Some of the best players in the world came from Dutch football. Think about it. Virgil van Dijk played in Holland before becoming the best defender in the world. Frenkie de Jong dominated the Eredivisie before moving to Barcelona. Even Cristiano Ronaldo's first big move was from Portugal, which is a similar level. The point is that talented players shine wherever they play. And Kees Smit is shining brightly right now. This season has been incredible for him. He hasn't just been good for a teenager. He hasn't just shown flashes of talent here and there. He's been one of the very best midfielders in the entire Dutch League. Week after week, he's been controlling games, creating chances, and showing why everyone is so excited about his future. And here's the key detail that should make every Manchester United fan pay attention. Big clubs have been watching him for more than 12 months. This isn't a new discovery. This isn't a case of scouts suddenly noticing him in the last few weeks. The top teams in England have been tracking him, studying his games, and making plans for over a year now. That tells you something important. When clubs invest that much time in watching a player, when they send scouts multiple times, when they build detailed reports over many months, it means they're serious. It means they see something special. The comparisons that made my jaw drop. Now let's talk about the comparisons because this is where things get really exciting. When professional scouts start comparing young players to world-class stars, you need to listen carefully. Sometimes it's just hype. Sometimes people exaggerate to get attention. But when the comparisons come from experienced professionals who are putting their reputation on the line, that's different. A Premier League scout spoke about Kees Smit recently. This scout works for one of the top clubs in England. Obviously, he wanted to stay anonymous because these things are sensitive. But what he said about Smit was absolutely incredible. He called Smit the Dutch version of Adam Wharton. Now if you follow English football closely, you know exactly who Adam Wharton is. He plays for Crystal Palace. He's one of the most exciting young midfielders in the Premier League right now. He's calm, he's composed, he never panics, and he reads the game like someone twice his age. That's already high praise. Comparing anyone to Adam Wharton is a compliment. But the scout didn't stop there. He went even further. He said that Kees Smit is probably the best Dutch midfield prospect since Frenkie de Jong. Let me say that again slowly so it sinks in. The best Dutch midfield prospect since Frenkie de Jong. Do you understand how massive that statement is? Do you realize what that means? Frenkie de Jong is one of the best midfielders in world football. He plays for Barcelona. He's been linked with Manchester United for years. When he was at Ajax, everyone knew he was going to be a superstar. And now this scout is saying that Smit is in that same category. The scout even asked a rhetorical question about De Jong. He said De Jong hasn't done bad, has he? It's a British way of saying that De Jong has been absolutely brilliant. And if Smit is on that same trajectory, if he has that same level of potential, then Manchester United need to be doing everything possible to sign him. What makes this kid so special on the pitch? Okay, so we know scouts rate him highly. We know the comparisons are exciting. But what does Kees Smit actually do on a football pitch? What makes him different? What makes him special? The scout described him as a very clever footballer. Now I know that might not sound exciting at first. Clever doesn't sound as impressive as fast or strong or powerful. But trust me, in football, being clever is one of the highest compliments you can receive. Being clever means you understand space. It means you know where to be before the ball arrives. It means you can see passes that other players don't see. It means you make the game look easy because you're always in the right position at the right time. Some players rely on their physical abilities. They're successful because they're faster or stronger than their opponents. But those advantages can disappear as players get older or as they face better competition. Intelligence doesn't disappear. Vision doesn't fade. Understanding the game at a deep level is what separates good players from great ones. And at just 19 years old, Kees Smit already has that intelligence. He already sees the game the way experienced players see it. That's incredibly rare. That's what makes scouts so excited about his potential. The scout also said that Smit is genuinely talented. Not just promising. Not just developing. Genuinely talented right now. And he predicted that everyone will be talking about Smit this summer. When a professional scout makes that kind of prediction, you should listen. Think about what Manchester United need right now. We've talked endlessly about our creativity problems. We've discussed how dependent we are on Bruno Fernandes. We've highlighted how players like Casemiro and Ugarte don't create enough chances from midfield. We need someone who can control games, dictate tempo, and create opportunities. Kees Smit could be that player. The crazy competition we're up against. Now here's where this story gets complicated. Manchester United aren't the only club interested in Kees Smit. In fact, we're not even close to being alone. Reports confirm that 7 Premier League clubs want to sign him. 7. Let me list them for you. Manchester United. That's us. We're definitely interested. Arsenal. They're building one of the best young teams in Europe. They have a clear vision. They have Mikel Arteta coaching. They can offer Champions League football. Chelsea. They've been signing every talented young player they can find for the past 2 years. They have unlimited money, it seems. They're not afraid to spend big. Manchester City. The best team in England. Pep Guardiola is their manager. They win trophies every single season. They can offer guaranteed success. Liverpool. Another massive club. They have a great track record of developing young players. They play attractive football. They compete for everything. Tottenham. They were actually one of the first clubs to show serious interest in Smit. They've been watching him for a long time. Newcastle United. The other club who spotted Smit early. They have money from their owners. They're building something ambitious. Can you see the problem? Every single top club in the Premier League wants this player. This isn't a situation where we're competing with 1 or 2 rivals. This is a massive battle involving all of England's elite clubs. And it's not just Premier League clubs either. Reports mention that top European sides are also interested. We don't have specific names, but think about the usual suspects. Bayern Munich loves signing talent from Holland. Real Madrid are always looking for the next big thing. Paris Saint-Germain have unlimited resources. This is going to be one of the biggest transfer battles of the summer. Multiple clubs offering massive money. Multiple clubs promising playing time and development. Multiple clubs trying to convince a 19-year-old kid that they're the best place for his future. So the question becomes very simple. How can Manchester United win this race? Why Newcastle and Spurs think they have an advantage? Let me tell you something interesting. While Manchester United have only recently joined the race for Kees Smit, Newcastle United and Tottenham Hotspur have been watching him for much longer. Reports suggest they were the first Premier League clubs to show genuine interest. That gives them an advantage. They've had more time to build relationships. They've watched more of his games. They've done more homework. They can tell Smit that they've been interested in him since before he became famous. That matters to some players. Newcastle have been really smart in the transfer market since their Saudi Arabian takeover. They're not just throwing money around randomly. They're targeting specific types of players. Young, talented, hungry players who want to be part of building something special. Kees Smit fits that profile perfectly. And Newcastle can offer something that Manchester United currently can't. They can promise him that he'll be a key part of their project. They can show him a clear pathway to regular first-team football. They can demonstrate exactly how he fits into their plans. Tottenham are in a similar position. They want creative midfielders. They play good football under their current management. And they've shown they're willing to be patient with young players as they develop. Based on what we know about Smith's abilities, he's a central midfielder who can control possession and create chances. That sounds like he could play in the number 8 role. He could be the player who links defense and attack. He could be the one who dictates tempo and makes things happen in the final third. In Amorim's system, he might partner with someone like Manuel Ugarte. Ugarte does the defensive work, wins the ball back, and provides protection. Smith receives the ball, progresses it forward, and creates chances. That's a nice balance. Or maybe he plays as a more advanced midfielder in a 3-man midfield. Maybe he operates in the spaces between the lines. Maybe he's the one who finds pockets of space and delivers the final ball. The flexibility is actually a positive. He's not limited to one specific role. He can play multiple positions in midfield. That's valuable for any manager. But here's the big question. Does he start immediately? Or does he need time to adapt? I think we need to be realistic here. Kees Smit is 19 years old. He's only played in the Dutch league. The Premier League is faster, more physical, more intense. Even the best young players need an adjustment period. So my expectation would be that he doesn't start every game in his first season. Maybe he begins on the bench. Maybe he plays in cup competitions. Maybe he gets gradually integrated into the team over the course of the season. If he can make 20 to 30 appearances in all competitions during his first year, that would be successful. By his second season, he should be pushing for regular starts. By his third season, he should be one of our first-choice midfielders. This is the type of patient development that Manchester United need to embrace. Not every signing needs to be the finished product on day one. The Donny van de Beek warning we must remember. Before we get too excited about signing another talented young player from Dutch football, we need to remember a painful lesson from recent history. We need to talk about Donny van de Beek. Remember when we signed Van de Beek from Ajax? Remember how excited everyone was? He was a highly rated midfielder. He'd played Champions League football. He'd impressed against top teams. Everyone thought he'd be brilliant for Manchester United. And then it all went wrong. Horribly wrong. He barely played. When he did play, he looked lost. He never adapted to the Premier League. He went on loan multiple times. Eventually we sold him for a fraction of what we paid. It was a complete disaster. So what went wrong? Why did a talented player from Ajax fail so badly at Manchester United? There are lots of reasons. The tactics didn't suit him. He wasn't given enough chances to build confidence. The pace of the Premier League was too much for him. He wasn't protected or developed properly. The point is that signing talented Dutch players doesn't automatically guarantee success. Kees Smit could be brilliant. Or he could struggle in the same way Van de Beek did. We don't know for certain. That's why everything around the signing matters. If we sign Smit, we need to have a proper plan for his development. We need to give him time to adapt. We need to be patient. We need to put him in positions where he can succeed. We cannot make the same mistakes we made with Van de Beek. We cannot sign him and then not play him. We cannot expect him to be perfect immediately. We need to learn from our past failures. Why this transfer makes perfect sense for our future. Let me step back and look at the bigger picture for a moment. Why does signing Kees Smit make sense for Manchester United? What's the strategic thinking behind this interest? First and most obvious, we need creativity in midfield. We've talked about this endlessly. Bruno Fernandes creates most of our chances. When he doesn't play, we struggle. We need more options. We need depth. We need players who can unlock defenses. Smit addresses that need. He's a creative midfielder who can control games and create chances. That's exactly what we're looking for. Second, we need to think long-term. Ineos have been very clear about changing Manchester United's approach to transfers. They want to sign younger players. They want to build for the future. They want sustainable success rather than short-term fixes. Signing a 19-year-old who could be here for 10 years fits that vision perfectly. This is the type of player Ineos should be targeting. Third, we need to compete with our rivals. Look at who else wants Smit. Arsenal, Manchester City, Liverpool, Chelsea. All of our biggest competitors are chasing him. If we let all the best young talent go to our rivals, how are we supposed to catch them? How are we supposed to compete? We need to win some of these battles. We need to show that Manchester United can still attract the best young players in the world. Fourth, the player profile fits what Ruben Amorim wants. Amorim likes technical players. He likes players who can play out from the back. He likes midfielders who are comfortable on the ball. Schmidt ticks all those boxes. And fifth, if Bruno Fernandes does eventually leave Manchester United, whether that's this summer or in future years, we need to have a succession plan. We need to have creative midfielders ready to step up. Schmidt could be part of that plan. For all these reasons, Manchester United pursuing Keith Schmidt makes complete sense. It's smart. It's strategic. It's exactly what we should be doing. The realistic chance of this actually happening. Okay, let's be brutally honest. What are Manchester United's actual chances of signing Keith Schmidt? Can we really win this race? I think our chances are decent but far from guaranteed. We have some advantages. We're Manchester United. That name still means something. We can offer a big stage. We can promise development opportunities. But we also have significant disadvantages. We're not in the Champions League. We're not winning trophies right now. We can't promise immediate success. And we're competing against clubs that can offer all of those things. If I had to put a number on it, I'd say we have maybe a 20 to 30% chance of signing Schmidt. That's not terrible. That's not impossible. But it means the odds are against us. To improve those odds, Ineos need to do everything right. They need to move quickly. They need to offer competitive money. They need to sell the vision convincingly. They need to get lucky with timing. If all of those things happen, we could win this race. If any of them go wrong, we'll probably lose out to Arsenal or Manchester City. The good news is that Ineos seem more competent than our previous decision-makers. They seem to understand modern football. They seem to have a plan. So maybe, just maybe, we can pull this off. What happens if we don't sign him? Let's think about the alternative scenario for a moment. What happens if Manchester United don't sign Keith Schmidt? What if he joins Arsenal or Manchester City instead? Well, first of all, we'd probably regret it. If he develops into the player scouts think he will, if he becomes a top midfielder in the Premier League, we'll be kicking ourselves for missing out. Second, we'd still need to address our creativity problems. Schmidt isn't the only option out there. There are other creative midfielders available. Ineos would need to identify alternative targets. Third, it would be another example of Manchester United losing out to our rivals in the transfer market. That's been a pattern in recent years. We've watched too many top players join other clubs while we stood by and watched. But here's the thing. Missing out on one player isn't the end of the world. Football moves on. New talents emerge every season. If we don't get Schmidt, there will be other opportunities. What matters more is whether Ineos are identifying the right type of players. Whether they understand what this squad needs. Whether they have a clear strategy. The specific names matter less than the overall approach. That said, I really hope we sign him. I think he'd be brilliant for Manchester United. And I think losing out to Arsenal or City would be painful to watch. My prediction for how this saga ends. Okay, you want to know what I really think happens? You want my honest prediction for how this transfer saga ends? I think Keith Schmidt will join a Premier League club this summer. I think the interest is too strong, the competition too intense, for him to stay in Holland another year. I think it will come down to 3 clubs. Arsenal, Manchester City, and Manchester United. Those are the 3 who will make the strongest push. I think Chelsea will bid high but ultimately lose out because Schmidt will want guarantees about playing time that Chelsea can't provide. I think Liverpool will be interested but won't push as hard as others. I think Tottenham and Newcastle will try but won't be able to compete financially or in terms of status. Between Arsenal, City, and United, I think Arsenal are the favourites. They have the most compelling pitch right now. They're young, exciting, and on the rise. They can offer everything Schmidt wants. But I think Manchester United have a chance if we do everything right. If Ineos move quickly, if they sell the vision effectively, if they're willing to pay what it takes. My gut feeling, and this is just a guess based on everything we know, is that Schmidt joins Arsenal. I'd give that about a 40% chance. Manchester City are second at 30%. Manchester United are third at 20%. And the remaining 10% is split between other clubs or him staying in Holland another year. I hope I'm wrong. I hope Manchester United prove me wrong and win this race. But that's my honest assessment based on where we are right now. What this all means for Manchester United summer. Let's zoom out and think about what the Keith Schmidt chase means for Manchester United's transfer strategy this summer. Because this isn't happening in isolation. This is part of a bigger picture. Ineos need to strengthen multiple positions. We need midfield creativity, obviously. But we also need attacking options. We might need defensive reinforcements. We definitely need depth across the squad. So how much of our budget goes to Smith? If we spend 50 million euros on him, what does that mean for other positions? Can we still afford to sign a striker? Can we bring in a winger? Can we add defensive depth? These are the calculations that need to be made. Ineos need to prioritize. They need to decide which positions are most urgent. They need to balance immediate needs with long-term planning. My hope is that signing Smith doesn't prevent us from addressing other areas. My fear is that if we spend big on a 19-year-old midfielder, we won't have enough money left for other crucial signings. But here's what I know for certain. Manchester United cannot afford to have another disappointing transfer window. We cannot afford to go into next season with the same weaknesses we have now. We need significant reinforcement. Whether that includes Keith Smith or not, we need to get this summer right. The pressure is on Ineos to deliver. Final thoughts on the Keith Smith situation. Alright, we've covered absolutely everything about Manchester United's interest in Keith Smith. We've looked at who he is, why scouts rate him so highly, who we're competing with, what he'd bring to the team, and whether we can actually sign him. Here's my bottom line. Keith Smith looks like a genuinely special talent. The comparisons to Frenkie de Jong aren't just hype. Professional scouts who've watched him extensively believe he's the real deal. Manchester United absolutely should be trying to sign him. He fits our needs. He fits our strategy. He's exactly the type of player we should be targeting. But the competition is fierce. The price is high. And our recent track record in these transfer battles isn't great. So while I'm excited about the possibility, I'm also realistic about our chances. What I want to see from Ineos is ambition and execution. I want to see them identify the right targets, move decisively, and actually get deals done. No more missed opportunities. No more watching top players join our rivals. If we sign Keith Smith, it would be a statement. It would show that Manchester United are serious about building something special. It would show that we can still compete with the best clubs for the best young talent. And if we don't sign him, I want to see us move quickly to alternative targets. I want to see a plan B. I want to see that we're not just hoping for the best but actually preparing for every scenario. Wrapping this all up. Okay everyone, that's everything I wanted to share about the Keith Smith situation. I know this was a long one, but this is a big story that deserved proper coverage. This could genuinely be one of the most important transfer sagas of the summer. I want to hear from you now. What do you think about Keith Smith? Do you want Manchester United to sign him? Do you think we have a realistic chance? Would you rather we focus on other positions? Drop your thoughts in the comment section below because I read every single one and I love hearing from this community. If you found this content valuable, if you learned something today, please hit that like button. It helps the algorithm show our videos to more Manchester United fans. And if you're not already subscribed to United Daily Updates, what are you waiting for? We're the most trusted source for Manchester United news and analysis. We bring you content like this every single day. Make sure your notifications are turned on so you never miss an update. Because trust me, this transfer window is going to be wild. There's going to be so much news, so many rumors, so many twists and turns. And we'll be here covering every single development. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. I really appreciate every single one of you who watches our content, engages with our community, and supports what we're building here at United Daily Updates. Keep believing in Manchester United. Keep supporting this club through the good times and the challenging times. Keep hoping that Ineos can bring us back to where we belong. And keep coming back here for honest, trustworthy coverage of everything Red Devils. Until next time, stay united. Stay passionate. And let's hope we can win the race for Keith Smith. Come on United. Thank you for watching and remember to subscribe.